Yo. Oh, hold on, hold on. There we go. What's up, guys? Hey, how we doing? I was away for a little bit. Let me turn this down. Sorry. How are we feeling? Lots to catch up on. Um, Give me 1 second though. I'm right back. Once again, sorry. Okay. Yes. So I need to eat this, but just want to chat for a little bit. Then we're gonna get into what is Friday Night Frights, you ask. So Friday Night Frights. Hopefully that's not too loud. Friday Night Frights is something I started over on Twitch. Ended up carrying it over here as my audience grew. Um, but yeah, we just do things like watch short horror films, play spooky games. What else? Yeah, that's really it. Watch spooky content like ghost stories or short horror films. Some are funny, some can be really bad. But yeah, just a bit of fun as I am a horror lover. Yeah. So, and I'm sure you probably heard at the beginning, I was speaking to my other mic. So we got this one going off camera. Um, that is for my singing and guitar. And after we're done with, like midway through, I might play a song that I wrote today, cause that's what I was doing today. That's really it. Wasn't doing anything crazy. But how was your day? Nice. Mm. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to just hop on something while I was eating, and then afterwards, yes, I'll play my guitar for a little bit so I can test the audio. Cause I went live on my Twitch yesterday to test it, and it didn't go so well. So today I got a new XLR cable that came in, and sounds a bit better. Man, this thing, this one here. Okay. Also, let me figure this out too. Yeah, I want to get chat on the screen, so I gotta add that real quick. Come on. Yep. Now Okay, cool. Okay, added the that. So now this should be. Let's see. Custom. Why does it not work? It says online. Uh huh. That should be working, but engine guard. Why is that not working? Unless. Yeah, no, it's not working. Anyway, hold on. Have to do that later. Let's do that. Dark. Size and style. Okay, it is. It is active. It is active. Hmm. I just don't want it like that. Okay, we can do that. There we go. That's better. Okay, then we're gonna do this. Nope, we don't want that one. Yep. Jeez, man. Um, that sucks. That's. I hate that. Anyway, copy. Oh, stop moving it. My camera should be locked. Let's be honest. Is it custom? Uh huh. Oh, saving all. Okay, copy that. So now if I do this, should it show up? What? That's stupid. Oh, you can see it. You just can't. Mm. The text should be white. Okay, if I'm once again solo test. Oh, you just can't. You just can't see it. All right, it's the same thing. Copy that. See. Yeah, we just eat it. So if I did this and I had yes. That might work. Might work. It's just I don't know about chat right here. That's weird. literally does nothing for me. So I don't know why that's a thing. Maybe. We'll see. Anyway. Mm, shoot. That would have been bad. Sure. Nope. Let's not do that. Nuke has been nowhere, bro. Just like me, bro. Been nowhere. Been no posts or no uploads or nothing. Lost phone horror stories. Where is this? Yo, what's going on, sadistic? Hold on. Shit. Come on, give me something good. I just need to. What is this? Hold on. Who's this? Who's this? Hold on.
Today's story is really weird. Now, we've been sitting on this topic for some time because it's totally fascinating, but we just weren't sure how to approach it. But recently, we kind of figured out a clever way to tell it, which you'll hear today. But just know, going into this story, that a lot of what happened in this story has never been fully explained. And so we did our best to make this make sense. But I'm sure many of you at the end of this video are going to be like, what did I just watch? And if that's you, I would encourage you to just Google the case yourself because it's totally wild. But before we get into that story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place because that's all we do, and we upload once a week. So if that's of interest to you, the next time you see the like button choking on a piece of food, immediately get up and perform the Heimlich maneuver, but on yourself. Also, please subscribe to our channel. So stupid. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so
I'm
you
eating,
never miss
bro.
any of our weekly uploads. Okay, let's get into
There will be no choking here.
On April 15th, 2018, 56-year-old woman named Yoshika Yasutake began dusting a piano inside of her family's very small and very clean home in the English village of Helmsley. Like she always did, after dusting the outside of this piano, Yoshika lifted up the lid and began individually dusting each of the piano keys.
Yeah, that.
But as she did this, she was very careful not to press down accidentally on any of the keys and make a sound. That was the last thing she wanted to do. Every time Yoshika was in charge of cleaning the house, she always dreaded getting to the piano because she was so worried about making a sound. After Yoshika had finished dusting this piano, both outside and inside, she lowered the lid and then walked over to a bookcase right next to a window and began dusting each of the books. And as she did, she began to hear out the window the sounds of birds chirping and cars driving around and people chatting. And Yoshika, when she heard this, she stopped dusting for a moment and just looked out the window at the beautiful town, all the little stone cottages that lined the road. And as she looked out there and listened to the sounds of her village, Yoshika was struck with a sadness about all the things that she was missing out on. Once, Yoshika had been a world-class pianist. She had trained at the Royal College of Music, which is one of the most prestigious institutions in London, and she used to play packed symphony halls where sometimes in the audience would be literal members of the royal family. I mean, she was a really
Yo,
big deal. But Yoshika didn't
she
play
fell
the
off.
piano anymore because her younger sister, Rina, had come back home. Now, as soon as Yoshika thought of Rina, she got angry and instinctively just turned and
That's a
slammed
mug
shut
shot.
Rina's closed bedroom door. And just for a moment, Yoshika wished that Rina had not come home. Because ever since Rina had come home, it was like all of Yoshika's family had decided that nothing else was important. Rina was the only thing that mattered. The Yasutake family consisted of Yoshika, as well as, of course, Rina, who was 49 years old, and they both had a brother who was 51 years old, and his name was Takahiro, and the three siblings' mother also lived with them, and she was 80 years old. As for their dad, he had passed away a few years earlier. Yoshika and Takahiro were both very impressive in their own ways. Yoshika had been this amazing pianist, and Takahiro was this amazing writer, but Rina was just on another level. Rina not only spoke fluent Greek, Latin, English, and Japanese, but she also created her own dialect of Japanese with a complete system of grammar. Rina was also this unbelievable artist, and everybody wanted to buy her paintings, but Rina
Oh
would never
wow.
sell, or if she did, it was quite rare. But that only created lots of hype around her artwork. It was like so valuable to get your hands on one of Rina's paintings. As a child, Rina had been awarded all these scholarships to all these prestigious private schools, and then after graduating high school, she was given a full ride scholarship to the University of Cambridge, which is one of the most prestigious universities in the world. And so everybody assumed Rina was on track to become this world famous artist. But there was something dark inside of Rina that no one could quite place. It only came out when she would have these sudden outbursts of anger, and people would see this side of her that just didn't line up with the rest of who she was. But these flashes of anger would often pass quickly, and so people kind of wrote it off as a byproduct of extreme genius. It was like her brain just sometimes couldn't quite handle how smart she was, and she would get mad and frustrated. But when Rina graduated from the University of Cambridge and came back home, she just was totally different. It was like something inside of her had snapped and stayed broken. A couple of days after Rina had come home, she had one of those sudden outbursts of anger, but Rina's anger never went away. She just stayed mad for days and days, and her family began asking her, like, what has gotten you so upset? But Rina refused to talk about it. And eventually, Rina just locked herself in her bedroom in the family home, and she would stay as if
Not a real
nothing
photo of the
was
bedroom
wrong with
door.
her family for weeks.
We know.
And then when she did finally emerge after several weeks, it was clear Rina was just different. She basically refused to speak to anyone, family included, unless it was absolutely necessary, and she
Oh, streamer. Y'all were just watching it on silent the whole time.
really never left the house or even her room unless it was totally necessary. And it would turn out this was not some post-college phase Rina was going through. This would become Rina's life. She basically became a total recluse inside of that bedroom for decades, to the point where family's neighbors didn't even know Rina existed because she basically never came out of the house. Yoshika stopped staring at her sister's closed
Um, Mango, sister. family. You can hear it.
Closed bedroom door and turned her attention back to the And so she put the duster down, and Yoshika very quietly tiptoed her way over to Rina's closed bedroom door, and very quietly she knocked. Rina hated loud noises, which is why Yoshika was no longer allowed to play the piano, because it was too loud for Rina. After Yoshika gave this light knock, she began counting in her head to 30, because Rina had told her, you do not come in right away. You knock, and you wait 30 seconds at least, and then maybe I'll let you come inside. And so Yoshika, she's counting in her head, 1, 2, 3, she gets to 25, 26, 27, and then from inside the room, Rina would tell Yoshika, okay, you're allowed to enter. Yoshika very slowly reached down, she turned the knob and opened up her sister's bedroom door, and it revealed this totally dark room, this very small, cramped space. All the shades and blinds had been drawn, and Rina was sitting on her bed, completely silent. And Yoshika, she kept her head down, being very careful not to make eye contact with Rina. She didn't want to upset her. And Yoshika, she walked into the room, she made her way to the table, and she scooped up all of Rina's dirty dishes. And then Yoshika, she turned around and began walking out again, and as she did, she tried to take a quick glimpse at whatever Rina was working on in her bedroom, because Rina had told her family that she was working on this master work, but wouldn't really elaborate on it. And in order to work on this thing, she needed the room to be dark and the house to be silent, and she needed to focus exclusively on this master work, and the family needed to support her as she did this. But again, Rina just never really elaborated on what this masterwork was. She would just say that it was very special, and it would combine all the elements of her life, her spirit, her body, her soul. Even the family would be a part of building this masterwork. And when her family asked her, well, what do you mean? How can we support you in making this masterwork? Rina would just say, oh, you'll know when the time is right. Yoshika couldn't get a glimpse of the masterwork, and so she quickly turned her head back down to the ground and shuffled her way out of Rina's room and shut the door behind her. And then Yoshika, she went to the kitchen and she dumped Rina's dishes in the sink, which was totally clean to begin with, because one of Rina's rules was the house must always be immaculately clean, no dirty dish, no dust anywhere. I mean, it had to be perfect, spotless at all times, because that's the only way Rina could work on this master work. And so as Yoshika cleaned and dried off all of Rina's dishes and began putting them away, her brother Takahiro walked into the kitchen, and he would say to Yoshika that it was time for them to leave the house and go to the market and buy some supplies for Rina so she can continue to work on this master work. Yoshika was immediately totally annoyed that they had to go do this, because everything was all about Rina, but she kind of buried those feelings and told her brother, okay, sure, let's go. Takahiro was different than Yoshika in how he thought about their younger sister, Rina. Yoshika totally resented Rina because now that Rina was home, Yoshika basically had to give up her career as this amazing pianist in order to support Rina in this whole master work she was working on. But Takahiro, he was totally fine giving up his writing career to just focus on supporting Rina, because he really believed in Rina, and he thought that this master work she was building was going to be like the single greatest piece of art in the history of humankind. And so Takahiro felt proud to kind of be a part of it. Now, Takahiro, like the rest of his family, had no idea what this masterwork actually was, but Takahiro and Rina had a much better relationship than Yoshika and Rina, and so Rina would tell Takahiro the specific things that she needed in order to build this masterwork. And so that day, Rina had told Takahiro some things she needed, and so he and Yoshika were going to go out and get them. So Takahiro and Yoshika threw on their jackets and stepped outside, and as soon as they were out there, they both flipped their collars up and kind of concealed their faces and put their heads down because they were very careful not to make eye contact with other people. This family was already very private, but with Rina, they had been instructed to be even more private and not even really interact with the outside world. And so basically, anytime they went out in public, they would kind of hide themselves. And so Yoshika and Takahiro, they made their way to the pharmacy, they ducked their way inside, and they would purchase a bottle of surgical spirits, which is sort of like a medical alcohol. And then after buying that, the brother and sister put their collars back up, headed back outside, and they went to an old used bookstore and they bought a book on palm reading, which is the art of studying the lines on your hands in order to tell someone's future. And when the brother and sister bought this book, even though the cashier was talking to them, they kept their heads down and didn't say a word to the cashier. And then after getting their book, the brother and sister hurried their way back home. And when they got there, the door was locked, but instead of pulling out a key and unlocking the door of their own home, the brother and sister knocked and they waited. And then at some point, their mother came to the door and they heard 4 locks turning. The door opened up, and then Yoshika and Takahiro walked inside, and they shut the door and then locked again the 4 deadbolts. Rina was adamant that no one in the family could carry around a key to the house. It was too dangerous because they could potentially lose the key in town, and then someone could come into their house and potentially see Rina's master work, and they couldn't have that happen. And so nobody had keys. They had to knock each time they came home. And the reason they had 4 locks on the door was, again, because Rina was very worried about somebody coming into this house and seeing what she was doing. Yoshika carried the bag with the supplies inside of it, the surgical spirits and the palm reading book, over to Rina's closed bedroom door, and instead of knocking, Yoshika just placed the bag right outside the door. She turned around and began walking away, and then as she did, she heard the sound of Rina's door opening just a crack, and Yoshika, she quickly turned around, and she saw a tiny skinny arm reach out from behind the door. It grabbed the bag and then pulled the bag back into the room, and the door shut and locked.
Right.
Last year, me and old Singalung were camping out on the summit of one of Louisiana's many mountaintops when suddenly we heard a small ruckus coming up the side of the mountain. Worried it was a rogue salmon who had learned to breathe air and walk on land, and it was now coming up here to consume me and Singalung, we didn't hesitate. We drew our machetes and began blindly swinging them around, shredding our tent to bits and severely wounding ourselves in the process. But after those 45 minutes were up and we opened our eyes and we dropped our machetes, we looked around and realized there are no rogue fish because they don't exist. This was a bit of an overreaction. And so now, staring down a very cold and miserable night up in the mountains without our tent that we destroyed, Singalung and I did the only thing anyone would do in this situation. We signed up for DraftKings. Now, did this save us from the deadly cold that night? No! Boy, who's appealing and get 2 at DraftKings. 3 days later, on April 18th, Yoshika was sitting in the kitchen reading a book when she overheard her brother, Takahiro, chatting with Rina. Now, Takahiro and Rina were not facing each other in the same room talking. Rina was still in her bedroom, her door was closed, and Takahiro was outside of her bedroom, and he was just sitting.
Am I glitchy? Am I glitchy? Or is everything glitchy? Let me. Turn back on. Better? That's what's the audio? this audio um, with me. Let me see. That sounds like an alien. Wait, it wasn't doing that earlier. What's the video? Why? Wow, up like that, I can't hear you. That's that sound. Actually, no. That's just like this.
Sitting on the ground with his back to the door, talking through the door to Rina. Now, this was not unusual because unlike Yoshika and Rina,
Why did it just get louder?
who did not have a good relationship and who really didn't talk at all, Takahiro and Rina did have a good relationship, and they would do this fairly often. They would chat through the door for like hours at a time. And so for a minute, Yoshika kind of ignored her brother and sister chatting and focused again on her book. But at some point, she began hearing what her brother was saying, and it was just totally weird. And so she put her book down and just began listening to Takahiro. And what he was saying was, how can you do that? That doesn't make any sense. How? Only your soul? How? Yoshika sensed that her brother was confused and maybe upset about something, and so she couldn't help herself. She put her book down, and Yoshika walked out to the living room and looked down at her brother to see if he could kind of give her some indication of what was going on. But when Takahiro looked up and saw Yoshika, he and Rina stopped talking, and Takahiro just shook his head, stood up, and walked away. After Takahiro was gone, Yoshika very quietly walked over to Rina's bedroom door, and just out of curiosity, she pressed her ear up against the wood and tried to listen to see if she could maybe hear Rina and catch something she was saying that would begin to explain what she had just overheard. But all she heard was the sound of Rina slowly shuffling towards the back of her bedroom where her bed was, and then it was totally silent. And so Yoshika moved away from the door and went back into the kitchen, and she sat down to read again, but she couldn't focus on the book because it was like this wave of sadness was just coming over her. And the reason Yoshika was feeling this way is she was thinking about the fact that back in the day when she was a kid, her and Rina used to be as close as sisters could possibly be, and for much of their lives, they were very close. Even after Rina began this kind of reclusive lifestyle, they still, were friends. They interacted. But something happened in 2013, 5 years earlier, that totally severed their relationship for good. On that day, Rina had emerged from her bedroom, and Yoshika offered to read Rina's palm. This was something the two sisters did for each other periodically. It was like a way for them to bond. And so Rina held out her hand, and Yoshika took it, and she began tracing a long horizontal line across her palm. Now, Rina's hands were different than most people's hands. Rina had something called a simian line, which is a very rare thing on people's palms. It's like this long horizontal line that runs the length of your hand. In palm reading, a simian line can be either very
I thought it was overrated shit. I don't understand what's happening. This makes sense now. Well, I hate for engineering because I don't know if this is gonna work or not. That was just all types of bad. It's working now? Okay. This audio interface sucks, bro. Why did I buy this? Sorry about the last few minutes of that. I just got a new audio interface that has two ports. That way I have two microphones to use. And the last few days I've just been having so many issues with it. That's really going to affect making videos if that is a issue. Um so I'm really just trying to get this down packed. We'll see.
very good or very bad. It can indicate that the person is a visionary or a mystic, so that's the good side, or it can indicate that this person has a terrible disease or they're very aggressive, so that's the bad side. Rina knew she had the simian line and she believed that it represented something good. She would say that she had a visionary soul. But on this particular day in 2013, the family had recently been banned from a local supermarket because Rena had actually gone to this market and gotten really upset with some staff members and totally lost her cool and screamed and yelled at them, and so they had been banned. And so Yoshika, thinking about this, she's looking at Rena's palm and she goes, "Oh, the simian line. Maybe this is why you were acting so aggressive at the supermarket. Maybe this means you're an aggressive person." But after Yoshika said this, Rena was so offended that she whipped her hand back and began screaming and yelling at Yoshika, calling her an idiot and saying,
Really?
"You don't understand the vision that I have. I'm going to show the world someday this vision, and you and those idiots down at the grocery store would never understand." And then Rena began beating and punching and kicking Yoshika, and Yoshika's screaming and trying to protect herself. And then Takahiro, the brother, had to run in and separate the two of them. Now, even though Rena was prone to these angry outbursts, this was the first time that she had lashed out physically, and so Rena's mother was concerned that Rena had some underlying condition that was causing her to lash out physically, and so she sent Rena to the doctor. And the doctor would say, you know, there is no underlying condition that led to this. However, it seems pretty clear that Rena is having some kind of psychological breakdown and needs psychiatric treatment, maybe even hospitalization. But Rena had totally rejected this, refused to get treatment, and blamed everything on Yoshika. And then after that, Rena really stopped leaving her bedroom. She left like once every couple of months before that, but now she basically stayed in there 24/7. And at the same time, Rena had added all these new rules that her family now needed to follow to allow Rena to be able to focus on her master work while she was in her bedroom. And that included no one having house keys and adding those 4 locks to the door. Also, the family was told to learn the new dialect of Japanese that Rena had created. This way, no one would ever understand what they were talking about. It would kind of
That's
protect
crazy.
them even more from the evils of the outside world. Also, Rena made sure her family got rid of all of their telephones, their TVs, and their computers.
We need to be protected of the evils behind that door,
And so Yoshika would sit
not
in the
the
kitchen
outside
for a
world.
bit longer, thinking about how sad it was that she had lost this relationship with her sister. And, you know, Yoshika had a lot of regret about what she had said
I
about
gotta
the
fix
simian
this
line.
chat
But
thing too.
eventually, like always, Yoshika just kind of pushed her feelings for Rena down. And before long, Yoshika was back to reading her book. For the next several weeks, Yoshika would see her brother, Takahiro, sitting up against the door to Rena's bedroom more often than usual, having these kind of hushed conversations through the door with Rena. Also, Yoshika began to notice that Takahiro was now cooking all of Rena's meals. Normally, their mother was the one who cooked Rena's food, but now Takahiro seemed to have taken over that task entirely. As for Yoshika, because she was primarily in charge of being the one to constantly clean the house, that meant she was the one going into Rena's bedroom and collecting her dirty dishes. And as soon as Takahiro had begun being the cook for Rena, Yoshika began to notice that more and more food was being left on Rena's plates. Basically, Rena wasn't eating as much food as she normally did, and this started to worry Yoshika. Rena was already a very small person. She was 4 foot 11 inches tall, barely 90 pounds, and Yoshika worried that, you know,
Dang.
she really needs to eat. She's already so small, she can't afford to miss meals. And then one day in the middle of May, Yoshika went into Rena's bedroom and she saw all of her dishes were basically completely filled with the food she had been given. She basically had not touched them. And Yoshika, she really never actually spoke to Rena when she was in the bedroom. But this time she just couldn't help herself, and without even looking at Rena, Yoshika, she gathered up the plates full of food and she said, "Rena, you need to eat more of your food." Rena didn't say anything back, and Yoshika, she just quickly turned and walked out of the room. But after that interaction, Takahiro would tell Yoshika that Rena doesn't want you going in her room ever again. And so from now on, the dishes that you would normally collect, Rena will place them right outside of the door. That way, you don't have to go inside that room. Also, around the same time, Rena, who normally would only leave her bedroom to go use the bathroom, well, she began going to the bathroom exclusively at night when her family was asleep to avoid any interaction with them. And so by this point, Rena's interactions with her family were reduced to basically zero. By early August, Takahiro and Yoshika were being sent to the store more and more often by Rena to get more of these surgical spirits, the medical alcohol. Now, neither Takahiro nor Yoshika had any idea what Rena was doing with these surgical spirits, but They knew it was their duty to support her, and so they kept buying them. And what they would do is they would come back home with these bottles, and Takahiro would barely
Now
open
I'm
Rina's door, and
now
he
I'm
would tuck
paranoid.
the
I don't
bottle
want that audio
inside,
thing to
and
happen
then
again.
Rina would take it, the door would
But
shut,
just let me
and
know
then
if it
Rina
does.
would never give them her empty bottle. Basically, the bottle went in and it stayed inside. Then, on August 18th of 2018, Takahiro and Rina appeared to get in some kind of a fight. Yoshika was in the kitchen and she saw that Takahiro was sitting against the door of Rina's bedroom, and the two were having kind of a hushed conversation. And then at some point, Takahiro stood up and he turned around and faced the door and kind of yelled into it, "I told you your soul was not enough." And then Rina said something back to him, at which point Takahiro said, "No, please, please," as if he was kind of begging with Rina to change her mind. And then before Yoshika could come over and ask Takahiro what was going on, Takahiro just opened up Rina's bedroom door and walked inside, and suddenly the house went completely silent. Yoshika was too nervous to walk over and look inside of the room, and so she just stayed in the kitchen and listened.
And they doing
And
a
for 15
ritual
minutes,
for
it was
sure.
absolute silence. And then Takahiro walked out of Rina's bedroom, shut the door behind him, and he looked very calm. And at this point, Yoshika looked over at him and said, "What's going on?" And Takahiro, he would just smile and tell Yoshika that Rina's masterwork is nearly completed. And then Takahiro asked Yoshika if she remembered when Rina had said, at some point her masterwork was going to require some direct help from the family. But she said, we'll know when the time is right for us to participate. And Yoshika would say, yes, I remember that. And Takahiro said, well, the time is now.
The time is now. This sounds like a goosebump story or a haunting hour story, like episode. Sorry.
Then Takahiro told Yoshika that they had to go to the store and get more surgical spirits. And so, really, without questioning him, Yoshika went with him. They went to the store and they would purchase 3 times the normal amount of surgical spirits that they normally would. And then, when they got home, Takahiro alone would go into Rina's bedroom with these surgical spirits. He would shut the door behind him, and Yoshika just sat in the kitchen for about 10 minutes until Takahiro came out again, no longer carrying these surgical spirits. And he would come over to Yoshika and he would say, "Rina is ready to reconcile with you. She wants you to sit by the door and talk to her. And if you do that, you can be more involved in creating her masterwork." And at this news, Yoshika felt a mixture of frustration and
I'm not
grief.
talking.
She had never thought it was fair that Rina had so completely cut her off after that 2013 Simeon line joke she made while palm reading. Also, Rina had made Yoshika's life so difficult for so long. I mean, Yoshika had basically been forced to give up her dreams of playing the piano, and she had to give up her friends and all of her life ambitions and goals.
Does she really have to do that? Let's be real. Does she really have to do that? No. Unless it's just culture to do that, but
To just support Rina. But
I
despite
ain't
all
doing
of
that.
that, deep down, Yoshika missed Rina terribly. They did used to be so close. She wanted to have that relationship again. And so
You can love your
Yoshika
siblings
walked over to
all you
Rina's
want,
closed
but
bedroom door. She sat down against it. And at
stopping your
first,
life?
she didn't say anything. And Rina didn't say anything
Nope.
either. But then at some point, it was like the floodgates just opened, and Yoshika kind of began pouring her heart out about how sad she was, about how her and Rina's relationship had really gone south and how she wanted to fix it. And now, normally, on the rare times that Yoshika would talk through the door to Rina, like when she was trying to open it up to drop something off or whatever it was, oftentimes Rina would just start banging on something inside of the room, kind of to tell Yoshika to stop talking and go away. But as Yoshika sat there pouring her heart out to Rina through the door, the one thing Yoshika noticed was there was no pounding coming from inside the room. Rina was listening to her. And then the next day, after Yoshika and Takahiro had gone to the store again and gotten more surgical spirits and brought them back to the house, instead of just Takahiro being allowed to enter Rina's bedroom, this time Yoshika was allowed to join. And so Takahiro and Yoshika they went into the dark bedroom, and Rina was laying on the bed, and they walked over to her, and Takahiro showed Yoshika what they needed to do. It was the last step of this masterwork project that Rina was working on. They basically needed to rub these surgical spirits all over Rina's body. Now, Yoshika didn't really understand why they were doing this, But she respected that this was part of Rina's plan, and frankly, Yoshika was just happy to be included in creating
Mm-hmm.
this masterwork,
Not
and so
going
she
in
didn't
there.
really ask any
Nope.
questions. And so
Me
after the
neither.
brother and sister had rubbed this alcohol
Ugh.
all over Rina for about 10 minutes, they walked back outside, they shut the door, and then Yoshika, she stayed back and sat down against the door.
And become the
the
burning
door got
woman.
let out again to Rina, and it was just very therapeutic. And in many ways, this was the first time that Yoshika was feeling happy again. I mean, she was finally starting to repair this relationship with Rina. And so over the next several weeks, this became Yoshika's new daily routine. Her and her brother would get all these surgical spirits, they'd come home, they'd rub them all over Rina, and then over the course of the day, Yoshika would stop
Multiple days?
by the door and chat with Rina through it, and that was it. And then on September 25th, 2018, after Yoshika and Takahiro had applied these surgical spirits to Rina's body, Yoshika told Rina that she had a very special surprise for her. Yoshika was in a really good mood this day because one, she was feeling really good about her new relationship with her sister, but also two, when she had gone to the pharmacy earlier with her brother, normally they didn't have any interaction with the pharmacist who sold the surgical spirits, mostly because Yoshika and her brother did their best to kind of like hide themselves and make it very clear they were not looking to talk. But on this particular day, the pharmacist had been very talkative and was trying to talk to Yoshika, and Yoshika, she decided she would talk back. Now, their conversation was not very substantive. Basically, the pharmacist finally had asked Yoshika, why are you buying all these surgical spirits? And Yoshika would say, oh, they're for my sister Rina, and, she needs more and more of them every day, and, she's working on something special, and we don't really know what it is, but this is part of it, and we know whatever she's doing, it's going to be worth it. And so even though this conversation seems kind of meaningless, for Yoshika, who had virtually no contact with other people, it was great having that little talk. And so when she came home, she just felt ready to do something special for Rina. And so after Yoshika
Rub more alcohol
Takahiro
on her.
had left Rina's bedroom after applying these surgical spirits, Yoshika went to go give Rina her surprise. And so Yoshika, she walked over to the family
Applying more surgical spirits so your sister can conjure some spirits. Nope.
piano that was not far from Rina's bedroom door. And Yoshika, she was nervous, but she sat down on the bench and she opened up the lid and she placed her fingers on the keys. Yoshika's big surprise was she was going to play a song called The Waltz of the Flowers, which is a famous piece of classical music that was inspired by the composer's love for his sister. And so Yoshika thought this was the perfect song to finally play in this house for Rina. She'll see that I love her so much. And so Yoshika, she began to play the song, and as she did, she was constantly listening to see if Rina would start banging on something to tell Yoshika to stop. But again, she didn't. It was quiet, and so Yoshika, she played this beautiful song, and then when it was all over, again,
I don't think it was that
listening
song,
carefully for Rina to yell out or be mad that she's playing this loud music in the house, but it was just quiet. And so again, Yoshika just felt this closeness to her sister, and before long, Yoshika felt tears of happiness coming down her cheeks. But then, as Yoshika closed the lid of the piano, she did hear a banging, but it wasn't coming from Rina's bedroom, it was coming from the front door. And then a moment later, Yoshika heard someone scream from outside the front door, "Police, open up!" But before Yoshika could go to the door to open it, her mother had ran to the door. She opened all four locks, but then only opened it a crack and tried to yell at the police to go away, go away. But the police, they were kind of pushing on the door, trying to get the mother to get out of the way. And Yoshika, she kind of moved over and looked through the crack, and she saw it wasn't just a couple of police officers. It was a whole army of police officers and firefighters and EMTs. There was an ambulance.
Bro, what that sister got going on?
Before long, the police officer that had been yelling, open up, he finally just pushed and got the door open all the way. And then a swarm of people in uniforms flooded the home. And as soon as all these officers were in the house, they immediately began opening up every door like they were looking for something. And then finally, they got to Rina's bedroom, and they opened the door. And as soon as they did, Yoshika watched as the officers just stopped at the doorway, and they began cussing and yelling and turning their faces away. And then the officers went into Rina's bedroom, and then a minute later, they began talking on their radio. And then EMTs came into the house with a stretcher. They went into Rina's bedroom, and then before long, Yoshika, Takahiro, and their mother watched as the stretcher came out again with these officers and EMTs, and on the stretcher was Rena, and she looked terrible. Her eyes were sunken back in her head, and her skin was so pale it was practically see through. I mean, really, she just kind of looked like a skeleton. The real story of what happened inside of that family's home would quickly become international news. And not because Rena was secretly creating a masterwork of art in her bedroom. Here's what really happened. Rena stopped eating food in April of 2018. She would say that the only thing she needed to be nourished was her visionary soul. And so basically, because she had this visionary soul, she didn't need food. That was the conversation that Yoshika had overheard between Takahiro and Rina when Takahiro was saying, only your soul?
Yo, only your soul.
Well, he was trying to figure out how Rina was going to survive by being nourished by her soul. It didn't make any sense. Fast forward 4 months to August 18th, and again, Yoshika had overheard her brother and her sister talking through the bedroom door, except on this day, it sounded like Takahiro was fighting with Rina, because at some point he had stood up and yelled through the door, "I told you your soul wasn't enough!" And then he had busted inside of Rina's bedroom and stayed in there in silence for 15 minutes, only to come back out again and very calmly tell Yoshika that, don't worry, Rina is nearing the end of her master work, and we just need to go out and get her more surgical spirits. Well, it would turn out the reason
Yeah, he wanted to
Takahiro was
trust her.
mad and yelled through the door at Rina is because he was trying to talk to her through the door and she wasn't talking back. And he suspected it was because she wasn't eating, and so he had yelled at her about that and then barged into her room only to find Rina totally unresponsive, not moving, not talking, nothing. And so he just stood there wondering what to do. And so as Takahiro is standing there, it clicks for him that now is the time. Now's the time to get involved. And so Takahiro left the bedroom, he grabbed Yoshika, they went to the pharmacy, they got more surgical spirits, they came back, and Takahiro alone went into Rina's bedroom and covered her head to toe in these spirits, because that was something she had wanted him to do before, and he believed that that's what she needed right now, because she can't talk, she can't move, she needs more of these spirits. That's going to help her visionary soul nourish her while she completes this master work. And for the next month, Takahiro and Yoshika would continue to apply these spirits to Rina's body, believing they were helping her complete her master work. On September 25th, when Yoshika and Takahiro were at the pharmacy getting more spirits, the reason this pharmacist finally struck up a conversation with Yoshika is because over time, the pharmacist had noticed that every time they came in to buy these surgical spirits, they smelled so bad. And on this particular day, when they came in, the stench was just overwhelming. And so the pharmacist finally had asked Yoshika, like, what are these surgical spirits for? And Yoshika would give this totally weird answer about how the spirits were for her sister and she was working on this master work in her bedroom and it was all going to be worth it. And so when Yoshika and Takahiro had left that day, the pharmacist was just so weirded out and alarmed by them that he called the police. And when the police arrived at the family's home, they discovered that Rina was not building a masterwork in her bedroom, she was just dead in her bed, and had been for 6 weeks. Rina died around August 18th, which is the day that Takahiro came into the room and discovered her unresponsive, which meant there was never any reconciliation happening.
He went in there, he said, wait, hello? You're not alive? Let me go get some more surgical, some more gasoline, whatever. What is it? Surgical things. And then they just kept doing that. The whole time she was dead. This kept rubbing oil on her.
Between Yoshika
and she's
and Rina.
dead.
It's unclear why Takahiro had told Yoshika, hey, Rina's ready to reconcile with you, because again, Rina was dead at the time, so there's no way she would have said anything to him. And so when Yoshika was having these supposed heart-to-hearts through the door with her sister or playing music for her,
she wasn't even.
The only real thing that was happening is Yoshika and Takahiro, from August 18th until the end of September when the police busted into their home, they would spend nearly every day rubbing this weird medical alcohol all over their dead sister's body, because
That's bad. Like, I don't know. It's funny because the idea of them thinking, hey, she's unresponsive. Let's just keep rubbing this this on her for weeks, for a month. They were lubing her up for the grave.
That's what they believed she wanted, when in reality, all this alcohol was doing was actually
Alcohol.
mummifying her body. Yoshika, Takahiro, and their mother were all
They were making it
charged
worse.
with preventing a proper and decent burial. As for Rina, her cause of death could not actually be determined, but based on what she looked like, they assumed she died from starvation. The court would eventually drop the charges against the family, saying that basically the family was too mentally ill to stand trial. And this was because the court had discovered that Yoshika, Takahiro, and their mother actually had not accepted that Rina was dead. They believed she was actually still alive, that all the work they had done rubbing those spirits on her had nourished her soul, and she was still working on this master work. And as of a few years ago, the family is still living in that same cottage, and it's not clear if they ever actually came to understand that Rina was in fact dead.
He got good at the end. He got good at the end. I was like, where's this story going? Like halfway through, I was like, where's it going? All right. Like the family, they just their relationship, they need working on it. You know, they need to work on it. They stayed in the house. That question of how did they not smell that? I think they were just nose blind. They were nose blind to the whole scent. They were like, we all stink. That's normal. Have you heard of Tomino's? It's creepy. Is that a video? Oh, I see it. I see it. There's a whole bunch of stories. Is this the right one? I think this would be the more interesting one to watch. As long as it's the proper story, yeah. Okay, bad. The unsettling cursed Japanese poem. Tomino's Hell.
Hello, my friends. Arya here. I hope you're all having a wonderful April so far, and Ramadan Mubarak to any of you out there currently celebrating Ramadan. And now,
Tomino's.
let's do something we probably shouldn't. So far this year, we've already looked into a few pieces of pop culture with a darker history associated with them. For example, I decided to start my year off by listening to the supposedly cursed Hungarian suicide song, and then I followed that up by watching the once banned BBC film Ghostwatch. So clearly I've proven that I either have no regard for my own well-being, or I'm willing to do anything to keep you all entertained. Now, the subject of today's video comes from one of you, who clearly has a death wish for me, and suggested in the Share Spooky Things channel of our Discord server that I look into the supposedly cursed Japanese poem known as Tomino's Hell, which is allegedly linked with numerous deaths and other misfortunes which befell those who dared to read the poem out loud. And then I'll read the poem out loud. Now, something that our wonderful research team at BuzzFeed wanted me to really stress to you all is that unlike Gloomy Sunday, the Hungarian suicide song, or Ghostwatch, the banned BBC film, Tomino's Hell, and specifically the alleged deaths and misfortunes surrounding it, are based purely on urban legends. I think that's all they wanted. Thank you, research team.
Tomino's
before I read this poem aloud, let's learn a little bit more about its history. According to one source, Tomino's Hell is a poem that was published in 1919 by Seijo Yaso in Yaso's collection of poems, Sakin, or Gold Dust, in English. Not too much is known of Yaso, other than he was a university professor and lived in France for a time while studying at the Sorbonne. His work was mainly for children, though even his later works contained many unsettling images and concepts, such as those in Tomino's Hell. Tomino's Hell recounts the journey of a character named Tomino through a symbolic hell, and includes plenty of disturbing and creepy imagery. There are various urban legends about deaths that supposedly surround the poem, which has given it cult popularity. And while there is no exact date as to how or when the urban legend came to be, Some legends include the death of a filmmaker, whom some sources name as Terayama Shuji, who directed a movie called Dennen ni Shisu in 1974, which was reportedly based loosely on the poem. There is another rumor of a college student dying after reading the poem out loud, while there are other iterations of the legend that state whoever reads the poem out loud may not die, but could suffer terribly bad luck or sickness after they read it. These instances included stories of those who have suffered falls, permanent voice loss, car accidents, and sudden illnesses. Another story involves a young schoolboy, Taro, who once held a battered copy of the Tamino's Hell poem, as other boys in his class jeered him on, calling him chicken, unless he dared to read
7 days?
the poem out loud.
The Ring? Whoa.
The oldest boy in the class shouted, "Do it," to Taro, who finally read the poem aloud with a shaky voice. As Taro seemingly did not die, his classmates laughed at their belief of the cursed poem. However, on his walk home from school, Taro looked up to see a huge truck hurtling down the road, the driver falling asleep at the wheel. The legend says that Taro was struck dead by the truck, taking him away to meet Tamino on their journey to hell. Another legend of the poem claims that Yasuo was not the actual author of the poem,
Hold on. Why they have to go to hell? What about in heaven? Were they bad people? I'm confused.
and that it was actually written by a young girl or boy named Tamino. After supposedly writing this disturbing poem, Tamino was punished by being locked up in the cellar without any food until their death due to bronchitis onset by the cold and humidity of the cellar. The legend says that Tamino's angry spirit was therefore imprinted in the words of the poem, evoked if someone were to read the poem aloud. Now let's read the poem out loud. Just to let you guys into some of the BuzzFeed
Really?
secrets.
Nah, bro,
Typically,
I'm not.
when we do a try video, as they would call this, you know, you're supposed to give your pre-thoughts ahead of time, like, are you
Better
feeling
not-
nervous or
better
feeling
not
scared
curse me
beforehand?
through the
What are you
screen.
worried about and all that kind of, you know, that boring shit. I hope they let me put that in the video. But the truth is, yeah. So how am I feeling?
He's like,
I'm
I don't
sorry
wanna
to
read
Jess,
this.
my manager, for being an animal.
Hmm.
But truthfully, how am I feeling before this? Am I nervous? Let's put it this way. Am I a Bugara? Do I believe in spirits, ghosts, all that fun stuff? Or am I more of a Shaniac? You know, am I more of a skeptic? Well, some of you would claim that I'm a criminal, but that's neither here nor there. Now, honestly, I'm in the middle because I do believe in spirits, in the spiritual realm of life other than us. However, I also haven't seen any evidence of that existence. I've had no supernatural experiences myself, so in many ways, I guess I'm a supernatural agnostic. I mean, I do believe in spirits. I am spiritual. I am Buddhist after all. I was even previously a novice Buddhist monk, as I once overshared in a Ruining History video. I was actually a monk.
Is this real?
This
Yeah.
is a real story.
It was
yeah,
like for
check
2
them out,
weeks. But when you're there, you can stroke it, but nothing.
You can't
You can't
conclude?
finish. You can't finish.
So you were walking around
Whoa, that out of context sound crazy.
with blue balls the whole day.
That seems worse than actually stopping altogether.
The fact that I am a spiritual person and I believe in spirits means that I do acknowledge that there is a chance that this urban legend could be rooted in some sort of truth. But am I scared of the dark superstitions surrounding this urban legend? Am I
What I was gonna say was, have any of you guys experienced anything supernatural? I think I have. So my dog once, years ago, in one of our homes, like there was like a oh no, it was the first time this had ever happened. She was barking at the wall. It was like cornering the wall. And it was also like my sister had like a little toy car, you know, where they sit in. But she was just looking up in the corner and barking. Me and my friend were like, what in the world? We instantly knew. We were like, yeah, nah, spirits. This place got
am I
something going
worried
on.
that something terrible will happen to me? Not really. I mean, am I a little hesitant? Yeah. I was hesitant before listening to the cursed Hungarian suicide song as well. But if this is how I'm going to go, then, you know, at least it'll make for an interesting headline. And honestly, even if nothing happens to me, that's not to say that the curse isn't real. I mean, I may just be lucking out today. Or maybe the fact that
Okay,
I'm
let me
reading English
ask this.
translation of
Are you
the
a
poem may disrupt any sort of curse
believer
associated with it.
or
So,
a skeptic?
who knows? Just check in a week from now, and if I'm posting things on Instagram, then I'm probably okay. In all seriousness, though, let's begin. I don't know if you guys heard that, but I didn't like that. I did not like that. But that's nothing. Fuck it.
Skeptic.
Like that was not planned, but I don't like that. It's probably something inside the case. Okay, let's do this. Elder sister vomits blood. Younger sister is breathing fire, while sweet little Tamino just spits up the jewels. All alone does Tamino go, falling into that hell, a hell of utter darkness without even flowers. Is Tamino's big sister the one who whips him? The purpose of the scourging hangs dark in his mind. Lashing and thrashing him, but never quite shattering. One sure path to Avicii, the eternal hell. Into that blackest of hells guide him now, I pray, to the golden sheep, to the nightingale. How much did he put in that leather pouch to prepare for his trek to the eternal hell? Spring is coming to the valley, to the wood, to the spiraling chasms of the blackest hell. The nightingale in her cage, the sheep aboard the wagon, and tears well up in the eyes of sweet little Tamino. Sing, O nightingale, in the vast misty forest. He screams he only misses his little sister. His wailing desperation echoes throughout hell. A fox peony opens its golden petals. Down past the 7 mountains and 7 rivers of hell, the solitary journey of sweet little Tamino. If in this hell they be found, may they then come to me, please, those sharp spikes of punishment from Needle Mountain. Not just on some empty whim is flesh pierced with blood-red pins. They serve as hellish signposts for sweet little Tamino. Oof. Honestly, I got some chills reading that. It's a beautifully written poem. I know it's just the English translation, but as a poem, and I'm no expert obviously, but as a poem, I think it's very well written. It's very evocative. A lot of imagery in it that definitely sprang to the forefront of my mind as I was reading it out loud. I mean, it is what it's advertised as. It's an unsettling poem, especially if you pair it with the urban legend surrounding it. It's spooky. What might be helpful to give some context to the poem is to look into the collective analyses of Tamino's hell. So based on our research, most interpret the poem and its symbolism of hell as a metaphor for
I've been out of
war,
school for a
likely
minute.
stemming from the ending of World War I, a year prior to the poem's publication. The second stanza specifically informs the reader that the character is heading to hell. The fourth stanza of the poem refers to hell as Avicii, which is the lowest level of the realm of hell in Buddhism, where the worst of the worst people end up. There are 4 or 5 major sins a person can commit to end up in Avicii. 1. Creating a rift in the Buddhist monk community. 2. Shedding the blood of a Buddha. 3. Killing an enlightened person. Or 4. Intentionally killing one's mother or father. Some interpretations believe Tamino may have committed that last one, killing their own mother or father. These interpretations also imply that Tamino's descent to hell isn't really that. Tamino might not even be dead or dying. Rather, this going to hell more metaphorically symbolizes an internal struggle with grief and or guilt. The 7th through 10th stanzas conjure up more fantastical imagery, describing the descent to hell as desperate, confusing, and full of suffering. All in all, analyses of this poem largely allude to, in the words of Emma Baldwin of Poem Analysis, Tamino's larger destiny to become lost forever. As a Buddhist myself, I find it fascinating to learn a little bit more about this supposed hell that exists for these terrible individuals, as I'm actually not too familiar with it. And I actually really find...
Didn't mean to speed it up that time, sorry. That makes more sense. That makes more sense. Why he'd be going to hell, metaphorically or spiritually. Either way. You don't just go there without doing something bad.
I find fascinating this alternate interpretation that Tamino isn't actually going to a hell, but is going through, a metaphorical hell after killing their mother or father. All in all, though, I found this to be a very informative and, enlightening experience, and I hope you all did too. And if any of you out there decide to give Tamino's Hell a read aloud yourself, let me know what happens. I'd love to hear. I'd hope to hear.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not reading that.
Unless something bad happened. And if that is the case, remember, you can't sue me because you're doing it of your own free will. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay safe. I love that I just told you all to stay safe after actively
Exactly.
encouraging you all to read aloud a supposedly cursed poem. That's life.
So silly. So silly. I should dislike the video. Wishing upon that on people. I'm just kidding. The camper one? This one, right? I was thinking about it too. Wait, hold on. No. Wait, is it this one? This what you. Or another one? I didn't know it was only one.
Before the video starts, I just want to let you guys know that this video was originally recorded back in the middle of August. I actually thought I had lost this file, but I found it recently, so I'm deciding to upload it now. But I hope you guys enjoy. Hello gorgeous people, what is going on, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going over a lesser known analog horror series called Woodlands National Park. In this series, we explore a national park that is completely taken over by different monsters and entities and creatures, and they basically pose a huge threat to the public. But for some reason, the national
What? I thought this was real.
park keeps trying to get people to come in. This analog horror series is also a little different because we get to see an actual camera perspective instead of mostly just like flashing images, but you guys will see what I mean when we get into it. This series is by the channel Buddy Films. Please be sure to go support their channel. The link will be in the description down below. But alright guys, enough of me talking, let's hop right in. Video 1. The most dangerous national park. Woodlands National Park, EST 1912.
Hello everyone, I'm Park Ranger Steve, and I'm Park Ranger Alex, and
Hello.
welcome to Woodlands National Park, located in the beautiful state of...
Anyway, I'm watching. Yeah, anyway, I'm about to watch. Gonna react to this guy reacting to this. He seemed cool though. But it would just feel weird. That's why I try not to, I just try to stay away from that on streaming.
I've worked for the United States Forest Service here in Texas for just shy of 10 years now. I love my job, and it's rare for anything particularly creepy or scary to occur, but having worked this job for so long, I have my fair share of stories I can share that might just make the hairs on the back of your neck stand on end. For example, we sometimes get jaguars hunting in the forests here, a particularly scary big cat, and that's because of what they do with their prey once they're caught and subdued. So just picture the scene. You're walking through the trees on some bright, sunny day when all of a sudden you start to smell something rotten. You look around, but there's nothing to be seen, just a picturesque view of the pines and the sound of birdsong floating through the green. Then something hits the top of your head, something wet. You place a hand on the top of your head, feeling something cold and slimy dribbling through your hair. You bring your hand down to see what it is, hoping it's not bird crap, only it's something way worse. It's blood. You look up, and hanging up in a tree, just feet above your head, is the mutilated, half-eaten corpse of an animal. Guts torn out, skin shredded, face half-eaten with hooves or paws missing, with broken
Hey,
pieces
Jazz.
of bone
How are
protruding
you?
from cracked limbs. It seems an utterly bizarre thing to do, But the jaguar has a good reason for doing all this heavy lifting. If a jaguar does not bother to hoist its kill into the tree, it risks losing its meal to other more ground-based predators or scavengers. Creepy, yeah, but that kind of natural world stuff is nothing compared to some of the other stuff I've encountered during my time in the Forest Service.
Not creepy though.
So this other time, I'm on a routine
It's just a circle of life.
walk through some of the trails to make sure all the directional signs and information markers for tourists are in order. There's a large rock protrusion about 100 meters off of this trail, like this big sandstone boulder that juts out of the earth that is kind of like a shallow cave carved out on one side that's been worn away from thousands of years of wind erosion. As I get close, I see a guy in what I first thought was camouflage hunting gear hanging around the entrance. I call out to him, just some friendly greeting, nothing threatening, and he turns to look at me. Only he doesn't say a word, he just runs off through the trees. I start getting worried about what he was doing in the cave, terrified he's left a body or something there, and honestly, I thank God that he hadn't. But it seems like he did leave something behind. I mean, I'm not even 100% sure it was him that did this, and I've often considered the possibility that it was him that happened across this little find first, and seeing me got the idea in his head that it was me that left those things there. He got that idea into his head, saw me, and just freaked. But when I walked into that little cave and shined my flashlight around, I saw something that would completely explain why he was so quick to run away, whatever his motivations for doing so were. Teeth. There was a little circular patch of dirt, one that looked like it had been raked over to clear some space. And in the middle of it all were a bunch of human teeth. I don't know why they were there, I don't know who left them, or why. But I did what I could. I gathered them up into a little plastic bag I had on me that had previously contained my lunch, and took them down to the nearest police station, giving a little description of the guy that I'd seen run away from the cave. I've had the usual wild animal encounters, weird noises during the night. But I've never forgotten those teeth. I have no explanation to offer up at all, but it certainly does make for a good little campfire story. Before the next story, I would like to present.
Let's get into some short horror films. Plot twist: it was the Jaguar. Maybe. Oh, alter. Rhyme or die. What the world?
Help! Somebody help me!
Nah, bro. I wish I had some sound effects.
Congratulations! You talented people have been carefully selected to play Rhyme or Die!
Oh yeah, we finna rap.
I'm your host,
No.
Dynamo. We're going to start with an AA rhyming scheme. You all have a couple
Okay.
each. I'll kick things off, followed by our celebrity guest, R&B artist K-Flow. Then Harry. Then round
Huh?
the circle. Back to me. If you
I don't know who that is.
or use the same rhyme twice, I push the magic button. Last one standing wins. Ready? Let me go, please.
Ready?
Doing this. Listen,
Nah,
I
man.
help you.
I didn't even know we were in the UK.
I don't want to die. Please, I'll do anything. There's no escaping the game. Rhyme or die!
Ramadan.
You know that I've got to rhyme to survive. Who will choke
show, slipping out of vertigo, on your feet, let's go.
Oh God, no. Can't rhyme. I'm a soil analyst. Let's do something else. A soil quiz. I've been a panelist at the annual soil.
You're dead.
Again. K to start, followed by Colin in 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey.
This is real. Oi, get a grip or you'll slip with steel.
There's a war.
Ooh.
I don't like this game at all.
From the streets of Reading comes a rhyming prodigy. Don't make the mistake of underestimating me.
I need
Succeed.
to succeed.
Boom! Just in time, Eve.
He was mouthing words, helping her out.
No, shut up,
I
man.
never said you couldn't help each other, Nadal. A team can fight through thick and thin. And remember, there's no I in team, but there is in win. Round 2! 2 couplets each, an AABB rhyming scheme, starting with
AABB.
followed by K. Okay.
Think of some rhymes.
Okay.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Need to keep a brave face. Have to stop losing every race. If I can get over this fear, I might be able to get out. 5-foot queen steps onto the scene like she raided a pound shop on Halloween. Got no collar, gives herself a free pass. Dynamo, get in the ring or get back to class.
I try to be kind. There's a way out we will find. I want to see my sister. I've missed her.
I'm King Kong, climbing up the Eiffel Tower. You attack me because you're scared of my power. Gonna crush anyone.
He think he a real rapper.
Make me the victim, I'ma make you the prey.
Bravo! You all survived. So,
Okay.
that is a bonus time of 10 seconds on the next countdown. It's time to make a friend. Outwit your foe. Could you even defeat the Great Dynamo? In this round, we're going to do 1 line each. The first person makes up a line. The next person has to rhyme.
Has to rhyme.
Starting with Eve, followed by Nadal.
What rhyme
Your
scheme?
bonus time starts now.
Oh, AABB.
You want help?
Never had help unlike you. Daddy's record label signed at 18. You don't know the real world.
Nadal's gonna be down to you or me in this round.
Yeah? So let's
Of
see who's
course.
in the spotlight.
Nadal, don't or you're going to die.
Think I'm a mug, gonna hit you like a drive-by.
Mate, calm down. Let's think of a plan.
You're as dangerous to me as a drive-through, man. No, you're angry, but don't blame Kay.
She steals my ideas, then gets a payday.
Let's find a way out of this game.
Get over yourself. I've never heard of your name. Kay's the
Ooh.
best one here. Just take her advice.
How do you know? I had the same ideas well before her.
Rhyme.
Gonna pay the price.
Mate, you need to let this go.
Eve, think of a rhyme this waste man won't know.
Waste man,
What? No. But we have to be a team.
Now rhyme.
gonna make you scream.
I'm gonna find a way out of here.
Another angry amateur who wants my career. Please, Kay, he's just upset.
You're gonna regret. There must be a way to make these release.
Let's do it after waste man's on time, Lee.
Huh? Oh, no.
A moment's silence for Kay.
Dang, she slipped.
Your turn, Nadal. Followed by Eve.
We have to stay alert.
In 4, 3, 2, 1.
We can't all get out of here.
I'm gonna make this expedient.
Why are you obedient?
Nadal, why can't you be nice?
Because I'm strapped to a deadly device.
We should always
did
say
it,
a
Abbas.
simple rhyme.
Yeah, keep in time.
Right, I'm being cold. Time to show warmth.
Why don't you,
Poor form, Nadal. Say something that can actually rhyme, please.
I thought she was gonna die.
You have made it to the grand finale.
Now he didn't deserve to live though, to be
Colin
honest.
makes up a line. Eve rhymes, makes up a new line. Colin
But he was
rhymes
definitely the
back
best one there.
and forth from left to right until one of you wins the fight.
wait. Why are you doing this?
Stick together, okay?
Colin.
Wow.
In 4, 3, 2, 1.
Very simple rhymes. Now it's your turn.
We want to live. We want to learn. We're tough. We're strong.
We just want to get along. We'll think of something. Just keep us going.
No way out to me is showing. How long can we do this for?
Till our mouths are sore. We just got to keep it really easy.
I'm feeling queasy. Look, Colin, you seem like a nice guy.
What are you saying? Why? You and me, we've got to keep trying.
If I said yes, I'd be lying. I have a family.
Hurry up.
Family.
We all been dying.
I could win, but I won't kill.
The thought makes me ill. But only one of
Uh-huh.
us can be the victor.
No, but I have a stronger will.
Eve,
Oh wait, she had to rhyme with
better
that.
than this.
Never mind.
there's a better way.
Okay. I'm sorry. We should be allies, not opponents.
How you rhyme opponents?
Come.
This. Yeah, I was gonna say how you rhyme with opponents. Components, but that wouldn't make sense.
Such a nice guy.
Then you flip it on her, and then she don't know.
Hey, well. From rising star to humble beginner, only one could be the winner. Behold, Eve, once sweet and benign.
So now
May
what
she
happens?
inspire others to shine.
Oh heck no! Hey, you gotta run.
Rhyme or die.
I'm weak. Dynamo is a vibe. That was actually pretty good. Give me 1 second. Run to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Did I miss you? You already left. I appreciate you guys for stopping by on the stream. Dang, dang. Let's see. Wish I could see when that message was. Hey, hey. I think I'ma call it. Gotta get going. I'm just staying floating. I hope everyone enjoyed the stream. Why am I about to rhyme? We're in this, we're like a team. Get your head in the game. Live the dream. And yeah. Stay clean. Alright, I'm done. I actually did want to, hold on. Before I leave, whoever is in here, I just gonna. Before I end the night off, let's end it right. Hopefully the audio is good. Let me switch mics. Yo, 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 yo. Do 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 da 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 do. Hey, 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 hey. Allow it, man. Allow it, allow it. Wrote this earlier. Today when I was just doing nothing. And I really like it. It started off with an idea that I had created in December, I think. And actually did something with it today. I wrote the whole song. Now let's sing along. What is it? 3? Keyboard 3? Hold on. Yes. I remember my chords that I created them. See real quick. Just had to make sure stream's caught up. Right. Let me know if you hear this. look up at the sky. Bear with me. I'm forgetting how it goes. Or not how cadence wise, but once I get that, I should be good. All right. Let me know. I look up at the sky. I see trees and I see birds and they're flying high. I really wanna soar the sky, and I would never touch the ground, 'cause it's getting loud, it's getting crowded. I don't even think I'm fine. Sit in my room alone with the sun. That's not how it goes, Raheem. Jesus Christ. Let me sing the chord. I don't even want to sing the verse because that just doesn't make sense. I'm like forgetting how it goes. Good thing I do voice memos because I would be lost as an artist without it. Okay, I'm gonna sing the pre-chorus and chorus. This is kind of crazy that I'm forgetting already. Okay. Okay. My brain is forgetting the words, but it's right here. Okay. This world can get dark and scary. Getting noticed, not for the weak. On and on. My brain just won't shut up. It's cold out, so I bundle up. Time is shifting, I can't get stuck trying to make sense of what it was. Think it's funny how we saw things change. I don't wanna do this all damn day, but one thing that my mama said, she said I'll be alright. She said I'll be alright. I'll be alright. I think it's funny how it's all things change. I don't wanna do this all damn day, but no matter what my mama said, she said I'll be alright. I'll be alright. Alright, that was that. Once I have it like fully memorized, like I can just play it like this. This is a song. What should I do? Yeah. Could you guys hear that? Could you guys hear the guitar as well? Ooh. Yo, Smokey, what's going on? Nice. Let's see. This one. Wait. Is that how? Which one is it? Yeah. Yeah, okay, let's do that. That girl with the brown hair and no stars in her eyes, she makes me smile quick when I'm looking inside those pictures in my room and this telephone when I call her. And she gets what I get when we're watching our show, my crazy love trip. We can dance all night long. I'd wanna love you till the very end. Oh, when I find my home, I'll make her laugh and never cry. Say goodnight and not goodbye. My home, my heart. It's home is where the heart is. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Mess that one up. My world goes round and round, upside down, when it's just you and me. I need you by my side, just you and I, cause I know that we're meant to be. You run right through my mind, like every night, cause I love the thought of you and me. I love you, me I don't know you, yeah. My home, I'll make her laugh and never cry. Say goodnight and not goodbye. My home, my home. This home is where the heart is. A few notes out of place. That's just because, that's not how the song goes in order. But I'm not finna sit here and sing the whole song. But yeah. Happy the mic is working properly with this XLR cable. That's good. If you guys, I'm about to end this stream. Not saying I'm gonna go live now, but I should be going live tomorrow on my Twitch. And it actually is just my name, so I could put the link in the thing. But yeah, follow the Twitch. I'll probably be playing Valorant tomorrow, or Pal World eventually, because I want to check that out. Smokey, I appreciate you, man. Yes. go follow the Twitch. If you haven't already, of course. But I'm gonna catch you guys later. I am gonna go figure out my life now. Once again. So I hope you guys have a good night. We're back next Friday doing this. Yeah. Next Friday. So yeah, I'll see you then. Actually, if you come to my Twitch, you probably see me before then, but you know. New update on new videos. No new videos right now in the works. So you know, on that front for Shining Cinema, I'll see you guys when I see you. I hate that I can't do this full time right now, but hopefully you know, that's why I'm getting all this new equipment, and hopefully I can start doing content creation full time. I just need to pave the way, and then this will kind of open up that door once again. This door for this will be opened up once more. If you go on my channel, my music channel is there. Gonna be posting videos over there. Hopefully that paves the way for me to be a full-time content creator, and then, you know, then we'll be there. But until next time, I'll see you guys later. Have a good night. Peace.